Hello players, let's discuss how are we going to donk on turns. First of all, let's clarify what is donk. It's the situation when we begin the aggression, when we were not the aggressor on the previous street, so like we check called the flop and then we bet on the turn, out of position. This is the donk. Let's go next. Why are we donking? First of all, we can seize the initiative, generate the fold equity, and the most important thing that we are not allowing our opponent to check and realize his equity by checking. While we are in the sweet start, we are not going to donk on the flops, like never, though we can start donking on the turns, and sometimes we can donk the rivers, but try to do it with value. Like we had some 8 plus flush draw, we were check calling, and by the river we got our flush with a low card, and we are not expecting our opponent to bet on the river, so we can donk there, try to get some value. Let's take a look how are we going to choose the runouts for donks. It's the most important thing. First of all, it should be the situation when the flop was kinda low, maximum is 9 high. The turn we see another low card, it's the good situation to donk there, it will work kinda a lot. When the texture pairs on the turn, it's also a good opportunity to donk there, we will have a lot of folds. And opponents will have hard time to fight it, because if they raise, they can expect another raise, because you can still have all those low pairs in your check calling range. And of course, when we see a low gut shot, we can donk there too. It's like the same situation with the first point on the low flop, but we can have this gut shot and we will have some equity there. Let's take a look at some examples. First example, we had queen jack on big blind, and our opponent from early position open raises. We see the low texture, we check call there with 2 overcards plus backdoor flush draw, and we get a pair. So we donk, our opponent raises, we still do not believe him that he has some sort of 5 in his range, so we have deuce or set or even aces have hard time there, so our opponent calls and the river is perfect, we have completed straight there on 5 and our opponent can't do anything, he will probably have to fold even his aces because he is losing against our range. Next example with 8-5, we check call, the turn we have 7 and we get a gut shot, our opponent don't have a lot of 7s and he will have hard time as well, so we donk and he folds. Check 6 situation, we check call flop with 6 hit, turn we get 5, we donk there because we are expecting a lot of checks from some overcards, and of course we are not going to get folds all the time, some overcards will call there, and at the river we see that the texture paired, we are not expecting our opponents to bluff, only to call with some hands which have a value there, and our kicker is not that good, so we check and our opponent checks and shows simple straight draw, which paid us and probably would just check behind on the turn. We got our value. And the last example, here we have 10-9, we check call the flop, of course, with our backdoors and hit. On the turn we get pair of 10s, now we donk for value there. There's many kings even would check there, and some sort of queens, jacks, 8s, and so on. Our opponent calls us, and we try to overbet there, making some 10s to call us, or queen jack, for example. They would not probably fold, and our opponent folds anyway. Well, that was a good play. It would be very nice if you donk your hands which have some sort of equity, like in the example. Take a look. So we just check called the flop, has given a pair of 9s, and we still have our gut shot. We see the pair. So for example, our opponent would not have easy time to call with some sort of ace high, make such hands fold. So, and even if we get called, we still have king or jack to improve, or queen to give us straight. So let's see what can we donk. So we can donk medium or low hits, like with jack 6 in the previous example here. We can donk draws and gut shots, of course, and some overcards like here we can be donking. In some examples, 6-5, we have straight draw on the flop, we check call it. The turn is a pair, easily donk there, realize our equity, not paying a lot if our opponent bets a lot, and generate full equity as well. So as we see, opponent folds the turn. In 9-8, we have pair, we check call, the turn we get 8 paired, we have full house, so we donk, many aces even would call there, ace highs, and as you see, our opponent did not even fold ace king there, because he was expecting some sort of bluffs. Still, yeah, you can see, like, you can value bet hands even like that. 9-7, same story. we donk on in the paired texture, and as we see, our opponent calls us, and we bet really small on the river to make ace high pay. As you see, it pays. Think about how to finish the river with your hand. So there are hands which can donk and complete the river even if they did not get it, so it would be four low cards on the river, you can see, and it's the good opportunity to bluff. And if you don't have this straight, still generate a lot of folds, and the flush for 3 cards, for example, still can be persuading, and opponent can fold some of his hands. Please avoid finishing your bluffs with rivers like queen, king or ace, and if the river pairs, it's probably not the good idea to donk, because people won't just believe you. There are some examples with such situations. So we call the flop pre-flop with 4 deuce, we check call the flop with flush draw, we donk the turn, like expecting our opponent to fold a lot, because there is a 10 straight there, and we also get an opportunity to see the river on our own terms, and our opponent probably doesn't have 10, and we just don't bluff the river with our hand, so our opponent would fold probably everything if he doesn't have 10x his hand. So that was a good bluff. 7-5, we check call the flop, donk the turn, and by the river we see flush get there, some straights get there. No, probably not straights, but though flush is here, so we try to bluff and we get our fold. Queen 6, we check call the flop again, turn pair, we donk the river. Probably we should still bluff, because first of all there are straights. Our opponent can have a diamond in his hand, which he calls the donk with, and on the river he just can't do anything but to fold with his not completed flush draw. Ace 9. We didn't fold on the flop because we have backdoors with green ace. On the turn we donk with pair 10. And on the river we can represent a lot of hands like completed straights or flushes. So we will get a lot of folds there, and it's a good situation to bluff. Well, this is it, guys. Thank you for watching. Please implement this strategy in your game. Good luck and see you.